Depression. It's one of those words surrounded by stigmas and connotations. It's something that, from my personal experience, only a small amount of people really understand. Clinically, depression is defined as a mental health disorder characterized by a persistent depressed mood or loss of interest in activities, causing significant impairment in daily life. Professionals list signs or symptoms of depression as feelings of hopelessness and emptiness, increased anxiety, trouble concentrating, and self-blame. While these statements are all accurate, what do these clinical definitions really mean? To an outsider, depression may just sound like someone who's really sad. Let's be honest, we all have those days where we don't have interest in doing anything. We all have those days where we just want to lay in bed all day. But what if I told you that this feeling can last for days in people with depression? What if I told you this feeling can last for weeks and months? In my opinion, all of these explanations on the internet explaining what depression is are unmatched to a first-hand account. The first time I came to the realization that I was battling with depression was my sophomore year of high school. For most of my life, I was recognized as an above-average student. I was involved in music, sports, and clubs. My sophomore year, I lost interest in all the things that I used to love. I stopped practicing violin, my grades dropped, I didn't care about showing up to practice anymore, and I began self-harming. I hit what I like to call rock bottom. With the help of my family, friends, and a therapist, I was able to get back on my feet again. Over the years, I have been through many ups and downs. Depression isn't like a regular sickness. It isn't like strep throat and you can't take antibiotics and expect to be cured in a week. It lingers, kind of like the smell in your fridge after you left something sitting in there for too long. Even when you throw out that food, the smell's still there. I was reminded that my depression is still lingering in the back of my mind this semester. It didn't show up at my door knocking like an expected guest. It was kind of like a slow burn romance novel, but the end of the story was definitely not lighthearted. It started with a lack of motivation to do schoolwork. I deemed it as typical college student behavior. Who likes to sit there for hours studying and writing papers? My apartment started to get messier than usual and slowly started to remain that way. It became a chore to take a shower. Then my lack of motivation spread to going to classes and going to work. My appetite became more sporadic. I was more irritable, my grades suffered, a lot. Most days, I was on self-medicated bed rest. No one around me seemed to understand how hard it was for me to get out of bed to do something as simple as brush my teeth. Some days I felt empty, and some days I was unreasonably angry, whether it was at myself or the world around me. Like I said before, the internet is filled with warning signs and definitions of depression as an attempt to explain to people what it actually is. Unfortunately, this knowledge becomes an afterthought most of the time, even when it's taught consistently in health classes and educational seminars. Lucky for me, there are a few people in my life who remained consistent and stayed by my side, even if I felt completely isolated most days. You're probably wondering, am I better now? The answer is, I don't know, but that's okay. I'm working on it. I've been talking to my therapist. I'm slowly gaining the ability to do regular things in my life again, even though sometimes I have to force myself to do them. The most important thing is that I'm still here. Although this semester has been one of the downs in my life, it wasn't the end of the world. Even though sometimes it felt like I was trekking through a mountain cave, unable to see the end of the tunnel, I'm starting to see the light again. I didn't write this story to make you feel bad, I wrote it to motivate you. Whether you're someone battling with depression, someone who knows someone battling depression, someone who is trying to learn more about depression, or someone who's happened to reach the end of this story, I want you to know that life has its ups and downs, and you're not the only person experiencing these ups and downs. I want you to check on your friends once in a while. I want you to check on yourself once in a while. I want you to know that internet definitions don't always tell you the full story. And most importantly, I want you to know that everything ends up working itself out in the end. I'm going to be okay, and so are you.